As a person who's done a ton of historical type content, a lot of times I use awards as a way to convey how accomplished the person was in their field. Just a way to quickly drop some respect on their name. It quickly lets the audience know that at one point in time, this person was at or near the top of their field. But it seems like more and more every single year, certain awards are being called into question. But while that might be true, no award sitting on somebody's shelf needs to be inspected quite to the level of an Emmy. An Emmy is meant to honor excellence in all fields of broadcast production. Been like that for almost 50 years. You got primetime, daytime, news and documentary Emmys, tech Emmys, and in this case, you got the sports Emmy. The Emmy is one of 4 major American entertainment awards, along with Tonys, Grammys, and Oscars. Think about this. Oscars and Grammys are such a big deal that just being nominated changed your whole introduction.
Grammy Award nominee Shoshana Bean.
Now, the effect an Emmy has on a person's career has been the subject of some debate. But there's one fact that nobody debates. The fact that the network that broadcasts the show that wins the Emmy, they get the biggest win. So imagine if a network over 13 years could lace its own air talent with fake Emmys. Do you know what these people would stand to gain? Actually, not much. The Emmys was only fake for the on-air talent. The shows they were on were actually awarded Emmys for real. The problem for the hosts is that they weren't eligible for that particular Emmy for reasons we'll discuss. But whether a host got their name on an Emmy or not doesn't affect in any way the studio win. So I'm just diving into all of this, but I'm not quite seeing what the studio had to gain from fraudulently adding a host to a list of people who were set to receive trophies. Whether Kirk Herbstreit takes a trophy home or not, the studio still has that Emmy win. I also don't see what a fake Emmy really does for the host. To me, it's kind of like somebody faking one of these, but then you could look at their channel and see that they ain't got 100,000 subscribers. So what is the actual point? And that's why, to me, this is such a weird scandal. Who does this help?
Who is this for?
In the aftermath of the scandal, several ESPN employees have been banned from future participation in the Emmys. Amongst those people banned, Craig Lazarus and Lee Fitting come up in every single article. Now, in ESPN's statement, they apologized for members of their team submitting fake names going back to '97. Craig Lazarus was hired at ESPN in '88, and Lee Fitting showed up 1 year before the chaos. Now, ESPN as a whole got a 1-year ban, but these two cats got what reads like a permanent ban, which obviously suggests that they played a big role in this scandal. They both started in lesser jobs and worked their way up over the years. And if we play the awards game, super accomplished. As a producer on College Game Day, Fitting won 6 Emmys in an 8-year span. Craig Lazarus' resume is way crazier. You know, at the beginning I said I like to use the awards to show significance. Well, I'll never do it again unless it hit like this. He got 33 Emmys. So it's fair to assume that these two guys are very familiar with how the rules of the Emmys actually work. So why the hell would they blatantly break the rules? When they decided to break them, it was a conscious decision, but maybe they had a point. Now, the easiest thing for me to do right here is catch that alley-oop and dunk on ESPN as hard as I can. But looking at the situation, just in a vacuum, there's nuance to my opinion that I want to discuss. Now, if I didn't want to look at this inside a vacuum, and I instead looked at everything ESPN's been doing recently, in that case, I probably would go and catch that ad, put it between my leg 360, you know what I'm saying, slam it home. But I think I would be doing you a disservice if you came to hear my take and I just told you what I thought you wanted to hear. So put down the pitchfork and let's talk about the situation from what I'm hoping is a more balanced, nuanced perspective. According to The Athletic, from 2008 to 2018, College Game Day won 8 Emmys, specifically for Outstanding Weekly Studio Show. From its inception, the Emmys had a rule that was intended to keep on-air talent from double dipping into awards. The thought process was they didn't want on-air talent to be able to get Outstanding Host and Outstanding Show, 2 separate trophies for the same exact work. Now, there's an obvious problem that this type of rule presents. Let's call this one the College Game Day conundrum. What happens when the same guys host the same show for a decade-long run of award-winning seasons? While they're hosting the show win 8 Emmys, but the folks you see every day don't win 1. If fake names can fool people on the committee at the Emmys, then it's plausible that you or me could be gotten as well. But today's video sponsor can help identify people online pretending to be somebody they not. Today's video is sponsored by NordVPN, the fastest VPN on the planet. Their goal is to make the internet better each day, free from online threats, censorship, and surveillance. If you go to nordvpn.com/FlemLo, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. Plus, you can lock in a discounted price for the first 2 years plus an extra 4 months. With NordVPN, you browse the internet safely, keep your files protected in your own private cloud, connect your phones and other devices to the network to also be protected, and generally just have more peace of mind on the web. And I can't say the name, but I do know of a business whose entire IT system had to be shut down for weeks, all because one single employee accidentally clicked on a phishing email. A whole bunch of sensitive information got leaked, people got fired, you know what I'm saying? It was an ugly situation. If it can happen to them, it can happen to us. But NordVPN can help prevent that entirely. So click the link in the description for an exclusive NordVPN deal, risk-free, 30-day money-back guarantee. So check it out. All you need to do is click the link down in the description and try NordVPN risk-free today. Shout out once again to NordVPN for sponsoring the video. Without further ado, let's get back to it. If I told you Lee Corso didn't have an Emmy, without even knowing nothing about Emmys, you'd probably be like, that's cap. And it can easily slip by you. Let me read you the second sentence of his ESPN press room bio. Check this out. He's best known for serving as an analyst on the 8-time Emmy Award-winning College Game Day. So not the Emmy Award-winning analyst. Nah, small distinction. He's actually just the analyst on the award-winning show. Now, before this whole scandal had me reading up on this stuff, I would assume that if you're the host on an Emmy-winning show, you yourself are an Emmy-winning host or analyst or whatever they call it, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But since the on-air talent is technically eligible to win other Emmys like Outstanding Host, when the show wins a trophy, to make sure they don't double up, everybody get one except the host. A real fast and loose analogy just to help you wrap your brain around it. What if the quarterback of an NFL team was not eligible to get a Super Bowl ring because he could win MVP? It was at this point the ESPN guys decided to take matters into their own hands and break the damn rules. Now, The Athletic obtained a list submitted by ESPN that said who should receive Emmys for College Game Day. Now, they only reviewed the list, or maybe they only obtained the list from the years that College Game Day actually won. So remember, ESPN apologized for maybe submitting names that go back all the way to 1997. But all The Athletic acquired was 7 of these years because in those 7 years, they actually won. So that's 2010 and 2011. Then 5 more times from 2014 through 2018. Those are the years. Now let me read you this excerpt. In each one of those 7 years, names similar to the names of on-air personalities with identical initials were listed, all under the title of, quote, associate producers. It included names like this: Kirk Henry for Kirk Herbstreit, Lee Clark for Lee Corso, Dick Howard for Desmond Howard, and Tim Richard for Tom Rinaldi. Then ESPN took the trophies and re-engraved them, put them in a box and shipped them straight to their on-air personality. Even though the rule is dumb, bro, that's pretty damn shady. But the craziest part to me is how long they got away with this. These fake names are equivalent to me putting on a fake mustache and coming there saying, hey, my name is FlemLo Rax. The fact that the Academy didn't catch this sooner pretty much suggests they ain't look at these lists at all, which may partially explain why ESPN's punishment as a whole seemed to be pretty damn light. But at this point, I don't know if ESPN's reputation could get much worse, but the burning question is, did the on-air talent know? Were they aware of this rule and went along with the charade, knowingly showing off fake Emmys sitting on their wall? My first thought, bro, you know what I'm saying? My very first thought, I'm just sitting here like, dawg, somebody had to know. I mean, the thought of you working in TV for years, decades in some cases, and not knowing about this rule is hard for me to believe unless they changed it often, which according to everything I'm reading does not seem to be the case. But there is one instance of a documented rule change. When did the rule change, you ask? Just last year. The timing of this thing is suspicious to say the least. So starting last year, the host of a show now also gets a trophy if the show wins. But the rule change means that the crux of the scandal, as of just last year, became perfectly legal. Re-engraving them is now unnecessary because you can just send the real names in right from the jump. But a few months after the change, you drop this news. And who knows how long this investigation has been going on. But it doesn't get reported till the thing they did isn't even illegal anymore. Now, obviously, dog, it was illegal when they did it, so it's still an issue, but it don't hit as hard. I can't prove that was intentional. I don't even know if I really care, but I see it. Like, I'm looking at it, you know what I'm saying? I gotta point it out. Now, as far as whether On-Air talent knew about the fake Emmys, there's some small shreds of circumstantial evidence that, in my opinion, bode well for at least some of the accused. One being longtime SportsCenter anchor Miss Linda Cohn. Now, last year, Linda did something that was either the wildest, most incriminating thing that a person could do, or more likely, she had no clue she was incriminating herself because she wasn't in on it. So in 2023, Linda won a Sports Emmy for an outstanding show, which she was only eligible for because the rule changed in that same year. But if you take a look in the back, you'll see 3 more Emmys for basically the exact same thing. She proudly captioned it "My Fab 4. Cool caption, probably something I would have done if I had these Emmys. But the only problem is, the other 3 awards are for the same thing before she was eligible to get them. Like I said a million times, but just to make sure it's clear, prior to the rule change, hosts were not eligible to receive a trophy for outstanding studio show. So according to the rules, bro, she shouldn't have these. Then just to be sure, The Athletic took it a step further and confirmed with the Academy that she's only got 1 legitimate Emmy. So when they sent the people out to confiscate the fake Emmys, they also ran in Linda's spot, bro, and snatched the fake ones up. But she contributed the same thing to the show in all 4 of these years. But still, they confiscated these 3 like it was Reggie Bush's Heisman. And I bring Reggie up because these hosts and analysts are not the first ones to fall victim to some stupid rules. What about people still in prison for small amounts of marijuana when it's legal damn near everywhere at this point in time? I would bet 40% of rule breaking countrywide is probably due to dumb rules that don't make any sense. But I've always maintained, even if I think a rule is dumb, if you break it and get caught, you gotta deal with the punishment. But getting back to the scandal, one thing I cannot figure out, what the hell was actually the motive? So according to several articles, Emmy wins usually mean more for the studio than they do the host of the show. Like, not personally, but from a career path standpoint and from a financial standpoint, both short and long term. This article from People magazine discusses the effects of winning an Emmy on actors and the networks the shows are broadcast on. The main takeaway is that for the actors, it serves as only a small boost, but for the networks, it's a much bigger deal. So when I first started researching, I'm like, okay, there goes our motive. If a network could fake Emmys, they could get more prestige, more notoriety, and present themselves as better than they are. But then I realized the studio's not getting extra Emmys. They already won their damn Emmy for outstanding show. So the studio obtained the Emmy win fairly, but the hosts weren't allowed to partake in the win. So for some reason, the studio decided to hold the host down. I mean, kinda. But the reason it's weird to me is because while the studio didn't have much to gain, neither does the talent. I mean, can you really walk around and get extra clout from anybody that matters for a fake award? If all you can do with it is flex on friends and family that come to the crib, I mean, damn, is that really worth it? When negotiating your new contract, I ain't paying you for fake Emmys. Them paperweights won't actually make your paper heavier. So why take the risk to pull off a scandal like this? I ain't said it in a minute, but I gotta dust it off. Bro, there's little to no upside. Now, one ESPN exec cited On-Air talent egos. Maybe they pressured the execs, maybe the execs just wanted to help. It's a really weird scandal. Now, shifting gears, let's imagine real quick that the host didn't know. Let's assume at least some thought their trophies were legit. Now imagine working, man, sinking your life into something and truly believing you'd been recognized for that commitment. Believing you'd been awarded the highest honor in your field and proudly displaying that every time the opportunity presented. Then one day, these random cats just show up to your house and snatch up the awards but don't return your blood, sweat, and tears. Them blood, sweat, and tears, bro, they real. You was there. But now everybody gonna think your career accomplishments are fake. You know what, you committed to the game, but everybody think you a fraud. And now you gotta live with that while everybody tears you down. That would suck. That would hurt. That's why without some real proof, I couldn't sit on here and say for certain that I knew people was in on it, when the fact is I don't know. So without proof, I won't go that far. And because it's another scandal, you can say, well, ESPN should be embarrassed. And maybe they should, but I gotta be honest, bro, as far as scandals go, as crazy as a move as this really is, and how poorly thought out the whole thing had to be. If this was really just a misguided attempt to award their personalities despite a stupid rule, if that's truly the case and there's not some underhanded, ego-driven underlying scheme that we'll later find out about, then this is easily the most selfless scandal that I've ever had to cover, which is, interesting to say the least. But at the end of the day, ESPN had to return 37 Emmys that they'd had re-engraved. Of those 37 Emmys, at least a number of them were probably more deserved than some of the real Emmys. Like I said, as of last year, the rule actually has changed, but it don't make up for all the awards certain guys have already missed.